Hello everyone, peace be with you, and welcome back if you're coming back, and welcome to you if this is the first video you see. How are you all doing? I hope you all are doing well. So one of a nice commenter, he commented saying that we Eritreans have no common cause, and he mentioned an interesting metaphor. He said Eritrea gave birth or became unexpectedly pregnant after the Italians, so it was something that just, and he said that there's no common cause, and this is the reality of the matter. Eritreans don't have a common cause. One group wants something, another group wants something else, another group wants something else, everyone wants something different. And some of them cannot come together. They just can't. If they come together, they'll fight. So anyway, so last time we spoke about, we arrived at the section of unhappy with Ethiopia. So we're going by the journal written by Dr. Alemseged Abbay. It's titled "The Historical Orbit of Eritrea's Agony." The Historical Orbit of Eritrea's Agony. You can look it up and you'll find it. So this is the article we've been going by. We talked about the agony with the Italians, and then we arrived, we completed it. We entered the agony that they went through. We just started talking about the agony that's involved with Ethiopia. Dr. Alemseged does not fail to acknowledge the suffering that the Eritreans went through, that they went through under the chauvinistic, the cultural chauvinism and the chauvinistic ways of the previous Ethiopian governments, which existed. Of course, that's not to say that this current government is not chauvinistic, but our discussion is regarding the last century, specifically the time of the revolution and before it. Basically, since the birth of that which is known today as Eritrea, which, by the way, is a slave name. It's a slave name. Eritrea is a slave name that they branded us and branded the nation, that area with. Between that time, the advent and the coming of the Italians, until now, if I'm not mistaken, until basically now. So we talked about what they went through with the Italians. We got to the section which is called Unhappy with Ethiopia, and we talked about the Unionists, those who wanted to unite with Ethiopia, either unconditionally or conditionally. We talked about Walde Ab, Walde Mariam, and Tedla Bayru. We talked about Ibrahim Sultan and what he had to say. Ibrahim Sultan was one of the ELF members of the early Eritrea, the first Eritrean armed resistance. The very first group was, if I'm not mistaken, was the ELM, the Eritrean Liberation Movement. But the ELF took over, and Ibrahim Sultan was affiliated with that. Anyway, so we talked about that, and we talked about how the Eritreans were not happy with the Amhara or Amara chauvinism. Today, we're going to talk about the federal era. That's the title of this section, which I would think is which is a subsection of unhappy with Ethiopia. First, it was unhappy with Italy. Now it's unhappy with Ethiopia, but unhappy with reasons, and with legitimate justification. So let's see what Dr. Alemseged has to say. Before anything, I begin in the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. I praise and I glorify him as he ought to be praised and glorified. So, the federal era, the feeling of anti-Chauvinism was augmented when the federation was formed and the regime's policies continued to alienate Eritreans. No sooner was the federation enacted than Ethiopia clearly revealed its intention not to honor it when the Ethiopian liaison officer Abbay Desalegn read the emperor's message in the Eritrean assembly in Amharic. Again, no sooner was the federation enacted than Ethiopia clearly revealed its intention not to honor it when the Ethiopian liaison officer Abbay Desalegn read the emperor's message in the Eritrean assembly in Amharic. The overall disappointment of the delegates was expressed by the sudden reaction of the Saho Qadi of San'afe and a delegate of the Democratic Front, formerly the Independence Bloc, who interrupted the message by shouting that Amharic was not an official language. So they got angry that the Ethiopian liaison officer Abbay Desalegn gave a speech in Amharic, but in the Eritrean assembly. The people were disappointed. The Saho Qadi, Saho is a tribe, by the way. So for those of you who don't know, Saho is one of the 9 tribes of Eritrea. I don't know its relationship with the Irob of Tigray, because there's a group called the Irob who speak the exact same language as the Saho. Saho are mainly Muslim, Irob are mainly Orthodox Christians, if I'm not mistaken. They're only divided by a border. That's it. As far as their culture, I'm not too sure about the details between them as to whether they're related or unrelated. They do speak the same language, though. That I am fairly certain about. The Saho are on the Eritrean side. They live in the highlands, in the Kabesa, the highlands, and the Irob live on the other side, on the Tigrayan side. So Qadi in Arabic means judge. So it might mean judge in this context. It might mean the Saho leader, or maybe tribal leader. Maybe that's what it's referring to. But the Saho Qadi of San'afe and the delegate of the Democratic Front, formerly the Independence Bloc, they interrupted the message by shouting that Amharic was not an official language. So let's go to the footnote just to see where what the source is, and if anything else we need to know of is there. Instances of Muslim discontent in current Eritrean politics. That's the name of the, I believe it's an article. Instances of Muslim discontent in current Eritrean politics, April 29th, 1952, number 163. So that's where you can find that. However, not all political actors represented the genuine interests of their constituency. For some, personal interests were paramount. That was the case with the former school teacher, Tedla Bayru, who became the chief executive of Autonomous Eritrea. He became the chief executive of Autonomous Eritrea. He started as Haile Selassie's crony, his stooge, and as a loyal unionist, even entertained the idea of replacing the Italian appellation of Eritrea with the Ge'ez designation of Midre Bahr. Midre Bahr means sea land. A lot of what Eritrea used to be known as, if not some of it, used to be known as Midri Bahri. At least the highlands used to be known as Midri Bahri, land of the sea. Some say land by the sea. So the source for that is Unionists call for the end of name Eritrea. Am Consulate Asmara to Department of State, Washington, D.C., September 25th, 1952, number 38. That's the source. I don't have a problem changing the name of that area. Why not? But in this case, he was Tedla was a crony. He was a stooge. He had no respect, is what I believe is intended here. The man was just working for Haile Selassie as he was his puppy. Haile Selassie had a lot of dogs. Nothing wrong with dogs. I love dogs, but this was one of them, the human ones. So, yet no sooner did he assume power than he revealed his vain side. With manicured nails, fancy clothes, drinking habits, smoking, extramarital affairs, and the accumulation of property becoming a total disappointment. So that situation, Clarence T. Brew, spelt B as in boy, R-E-A-U-X as in Xavier. So Clarence T. Brew, Am Consulate, Asmara, to the Department of State, Washington, D.C., number 87, January 16th, 1953. So not surprisingly, he quickly, yet no sooner did he assume power than he revealed his vain side with manicured nails, fancy clothes, drinking habits, smoking, extramarital affairs, and the accumulation of property becoming a total disappointment. Not surprisingly, he quickly developed a taste for power. So much so that he realized that annulling Eritrea's federal status was not going to be in his best interests. So getting rid of Eritrea's federal status was not going to be in his best interests. This guy is being treated like a king. Why should I get Eritrea out of this federal thing? Thus, he became a champion of maintaining the federation according to its letter and spirit, embracing the very ideals of his mortal political foes. Walde Ab, Walde Mariam, the Ras Tessema family, and Ibrahim Sultan. These three people, or these three entities, were his mortal foes. Walde Ab, Walde Mariam, Ras Tessema family, and Ibrahim Sultan. Blinded by the love of power, he could not see the implications of the newfound political stand that he was risking a fallout with the emperor. Indeed, he earned brand new and powerful foes in Asfaha Walde Mikael and the church echelon, supported by the emperor's representative in Eritrea, Andargacho Masai, who were all set to kill the federation. They were all intending to kill the federation. They wanted to get rid of the federation. So this Tedla Bairu character, he earned new and powerful foes in Asfaha Walde Mikael and the church echelon, supported by the emperor's representative in Eritrea, Andargacho Masai, who were all set to kill the federation. To his chagrin, pardon my lack of some words I look up and then forget how to pronounce them. Dr. Alemseged is one of those who uses very efficient language, and I praise him for that, among many reasons. I praise him for many reasons, but this is one of them. To his chagrin, it was the anti-federation camp that prevailed. Instead of building a bridge of goodwill, embracing Eritreans in good faith, and honoring the federation, the state subjected them to both political centralization, a unitary state system, and the pathology of cultural homogenization, Amharanization. So now you're under a unitary state system, and now you're under cultural homogenization. You're going to be Amharanized. That's what's happening here. Yeah, so that's what ended up happening. The UN brokered autonomy was instantly being castrated. When in 1952, the Eritrean Assembly adopted a sky blue flag with crossed olive branches and the words Eritrean government written side by side. Beneath the branches in both Arabic and Tigrinya, Andargacho Masai, who had not attended the flag-raising ceremony, angrily opposed the unfurling of the Eritrean flag. This is one of the reasons the Eritreans, they have a sense of First of all, so about this flag, which they call Malay in Tigrinya, and it's called Khadra, I think, in Tigray. That blue flag, that was the first flag, and everyone acknowledges that, Higdef and non-Higdef alike, EPLF and non-EPLF alike. That's one of the reasons why the Blue Revolution folks, they resorted to that flag, is because they wanted to oppose the EPLF. They said, this is the original flag, we don't support that flag. This flag became something, in my view, that you see, it added to the nationalists, the coals of nationalism. It fed the fire of nationalism. It was justified nationalism, but it was caused by the Amhara chauvinism. That's what caused it. But these flags that ended up coming into play these were just, of course, a flag is man-made. But now we're still talking about what was created by Italy. And now we have, so first Italy caused a problem, now Ethiopia is coming from the other side, causing another issue. Because of Amharanization, as I mentioned in my other video, my previous one, I believe, I wonder what would have happened if those who are known as Eritreans, if we were treated differently, meaning with justice. Would we have stayed? Or would we have just continued with the 10-year federation and then ended as we were supposed to? How would things have gone? Makes me curious. Of course, we can't go back in time, but it's one of those things that I wonder. And nobody tell me if you don't know and you're not sure, then why do you open your mouth? I will open my mouth. It's a free world, free country. We open our mouths. That's what we do. And if you don't like it, well, I wouldn't want to have someone like you in power, because that would mean we would have more dictators in the world. Isaias is not just one man. There are many Isaiases throughout the world. But a lot of you are living, those mini Isaiases, a lot of the cronies, they're living in places where they have freedom of speech. Why don't you live in Eritrea? If you love Isaias so much, why don't you go live there? This is a big question. People are leaving. Why don't you go there and stay? Why don't you just live there? If you have a house, sell the house. Sell your car. Go or ship it. Have it shipped to Eritrea. Why don't you go there? Your car would be the first non-Fiat or non-old, Italian car that would be on an Eritrean road. I know there are some other cars, but it would be, if you drive something like a Tesla, your car would be a place that the YouTubers go and take pictures in. You know it's true. The UN brokered autonomy was instantly being castrated when in 1952 the Eritrean Assembly adopted a sky blue flag with crossed olive branches and the words Eritrean government written side by side beneath the branches in both Arabic and Tigrinya. Andargacho Mesai, who had not attended the flag raising ceremony, angrily opposed the unfurling of the Eritrean flag. Legally, he said, no Eritrean flag exists. Legally, he said, no Eritrean flag exists. That's the from the official call on Emperor's representative in Eritrea. I'm Consulate Asmara to the State Department, Washington D.C., September 24th, 1952, number 36. Such impatience of the regime was stirring agitation among the public. Eritreans in general opposed the greater influx of Shewan carpetbaggers. Worse still, the dispatch of a brigade of Ethiopian troops to Eritrea, sloganizing Imbialeso Tiyat Agurso. Imbialeso Tiyat Agurso. Feed he who says no a bullet. This is something in Amharic. I don't understand I think that it means that feed he who says no. Mb means no in both Tigrunga and Amharic. So whoever says no, feed him a bullet. Mbialle so iyata agurso. So feed he who says no a bullet. Feed him a bullet. Dictator mentality. They sloganized this. So worse still, the dispatch of a brigade of Ethiopian troops to Eritrea, sloganizing what we just said, unnerved Eritreans from all shades of the political spectrum. All shades of the political spectrum. You can find that in Askalu Menkarios, head, Union of Eritrean Women, interview July 1st, 1994, Asmara. The dying opposition made its last gasp. We wish to point out that defense of Eritrean interests does not mean opposition to Ethiopia. It means the defense of the rights based on the principles of federation. Indeed, the blots on the new leaf continue to nurture Eritrean agony. So, this quote, where the dying opposition's last gasp, where they said, we wish to point out the defense of Eritrean interests do not mean opposition to Ethiopia. The source of that is taken from an article that appeared in the opposition paper Voice of Eritrea, November 29th, 1952, a few months before the government closed it. Am Consulate, Asmara, to the State Department, Washington, D.C., December 23rd, 1952, number 78. Let's continue until we're almost at the next subsection, post-federal era. The principal activist, Walde Walde Mariam. 7 times they tried to kill Walde Walde Mariam. The principal activist, Walde protested that the rights and democracy granted them by the United Nations were being whittled away by the Amhara. And after the 7th attempt on his life in 1953, Walde took a self-exile in the Sudan. The American consul, Edward W. Clark, lamented. This is his words now. These are his words. It is indeed regrettable that Eritrea should lose one of its few educated and intelligent sons, just when it is so vitally in need of all of them. But his elimination from the local scene by one means or another, given his ability and popularity with the people, was virtually a foregone conclusion. His elimination from the local scene by one means or another, given his ability and popularity with the people, was virtually a foregone conclusion. Ethiopian government that's from an article, I believe. The Ethiopian government grants passports and exit visa to Walde Mariam, or a document. Am Consulate, Asmara, to the State Department, Washington, D.C., August 12th, 1953, number 23. Back to the main text. Opposition leaders were being bought off, principal among them whom was Ali Radai, who had supported the partition of Eritrea so that his western province could merge with the Sudan. After 1952, though, he held prominent positions in the administrations of both Tedla Bayru and Asfaha Walda Mikael. So this person who wanted to be with the Sudan, later on he would end up, after 1952, he would hold prominent positions in the administrations of both Tedla Bayru and Asfaha Walda Mikael. Others, such as the Ras Tessama family, were completely silenced. And still others, such as Ibrahim Sultan, followed Walde into self-exile. Out of favor, Tedla revealed his chameleon-like political persona, changing from an arch-unionist to a strong federalist and ultimately to a profound secessionist. First, he was an arch-unionist. Then he went to a strong federalist. Then he became a profound secessionist, wanting to leave. His disenchantment was expressed to the American consul in Addis Ababa, that the Shewans could not care less what happened to Eritrea, providing it was fully integrated into the empire. By 1962, Parliament was no more, the free press disappeared, political parties were banned, Amharic displaced Tigrinya and Arabic as the official language, and the sky blue flag of autonomous Eritrea was nowhere to be seen. Eritrea was annexed, becoming the 14th province of Ethiopia, leading to another phase of anguish. We will talk about the other agony in the post-federal era in the next episode, in the next part of this, in the next discussion of the series. It was good having you here. Very intense matters that we have discussed. I'll see you on the next episode. Comments, concerns, complaints, disappointments, they're all welcome. Insults, whatever you have to say in the comment box. Thanks for watching. Take care. Keep safe. Peace be with you. Thanks for watching, and until next time.